Hey everybody, it's Sam with Wrestling Overtime, and we are doing a review for WWE Raw in Lexington, Kentucky on January 13th of 2020. And I just want to go ahead and point out that I really thought this Raw seemed like 6 hours long. I don't know why. When I got to the end of it, it was almost like I couldn't remember what happened at the beginning, that it had been like a whole day had passed or something like that. I found it interesting at certain points, but I just felt like it was really slow moving. I thought that a lot of the promos were too long, too drawn out, or the matches were too long, too drawn out. It wasn't like an even kind of show. If you felt like this, hit me up on Wrestling Overtime on Facebook or Twitter, or email me at wrestlingovertime@gmail.com, because I just felt like this show went on forever. However, when it first started out, I was really excited. Of course, they had to bring out one of my favorites right off the bat to start the show, and that's the Viper had to come out. Randy Orton. I loved how he had cut his hoodie around his shoulder muscles. That was a new look. I really liked how that looked on him, made him look even badder than what he normally is. Love how the crowd got behind him, started chanting Randy, Randy, Randy. So he had to give his typical smile slash smirk and get up on the ring post and kind of strike a pose before he grabbed the mic, and he basically just invited AJ out. Told him, to get out here, that he was kind of tired of this. So AJ's music hits just as Randy is talking about giving him an RKO. And so AJ has to come down the ramp and get his mic and start talking about his show from last week and how he basically imitated the Viper's movesets, doing the DDT from the ring ropes, and then doing the Viper on the ring mat, hitting his arms against the mat, and then RKOing the person last week. And he says it's that he got all this fan reaction, that it was the best RKO ever. And you just basically kind of see Randy smirking and basically you could tell by the look on his face that he was not buying that for not even 1 second. And out of the blue, Drew McIntyre's music hits. And it was awesome to see Randy's reaction, because he just throws down his mic. I mean, you can hear it hitting the ground. And Drew comes out running his mouth that he basically needs a challenge, and why not challenge, two of the best that are already in the ring to a triple threat match. So, I was all for this. I usually don't like triple threat matches, but with AJ Styles and Randy Orton, and then Drew McIntyre has some experience on him, but, Randy Orton and AJ Styles are two Hall of Famers, and they're basically calling this match, and it looks so natural and it flows so well. You see that Styles went to automatically hit his phenomenal forearm, and Orton hits AJ Styles' knee and kind of knocks him to the ground. You see that Anderson and Gallows come out, and Randy takes one of them and RKO's him, and Drew McIntyre Claymore's the other, and so they kind of start up the triple threat again. And I mean, I can't say enough about this as far as them all selling the move sets and them doing move sets that actually would hurt a normal person. So, when you're seeing somebody get kicked, they're actually falling to the ground. They're taking a little time to shake their head and get back up. They're actually acting more natural than what you see in most triple threats. Most triple threats, you see someone either slide out of the ring or get thrown out of the ring, and they lay out there on the floor forever and ever and ever and ever until somebody gives them a sign. It's time for them to get up, get back into it. But this all was kind of happening within the ring, and so it just looked way more put together, way more experienced, I guess. Then, of course, AJ has to use Randy's own DDT, and then he does the Viper moveset like he did last week with Smock in his hands, and he goes for the RKO, and Orton stops it. I thought it was kind of funny because obviously if you do a move, whether it be in any sport, you kind of know what stops it so that you can counteract that. So AJ didn't really, go for that. So Randy sets him up for the Styles Clash and does all of AJ's moves of sticking his arms out and taking his time, setting his person up and everything. But after the Styles Clash, he can't get the pin, so he does his, turns into the Viper and does his moveset, and then he RKO's AJ and leaves it kind of, hey, Randy's actually going to win this. And McIntyre rolls in out of nowhere in just perfect timing, claymores Randy to put him out, and he pins AJ Styles. So Drew actually gets the win there, but by Claymore and Orton, but pinning Styles. So, I mean, it was an awesome match, and it was a way to start off Raw. I felt like Raw for the last 2 weeks has really kind of upped its game. It's gave us a lot of entertainment in the first hour and a half to 2 hours, and then it's kind of went to, I don't know, the stupidity side almost in the 10 o'clock hour with the Lana, Lashley, Rusev, Liv Morgan fiascos that have been going on with the whole wedding. So I'm interested to see what they put in, the 10 o'clock hour, what kind of shenanigans are going to go on. Are they going to put, they've already shown that, Lashley and Rusev are going to take each other on tonight. So is that going to happen in the 10 o'clock hour? Are we going to see that? And I just want to talk to the USA Network or the WWE. If anyone out there is happening to listen to this, we really do not need 5 or 6 minutes of commercials in between segments. This is ridiculous. It happens a couple times in this show, and I understand that the segments are maybe running a little longer, and you've got to get your commercials in. But go picture in picture or something like AEW is doing or something like that. We do not need 5 or 6 minutes. If there had been something else on Monday night, I don't know. I might have thought about switching the channel around. I did pop up the guide and was looking around because, it was getting frustrating with so many commercials. And so then they come back with a replay of last week's KO, Samoa Joe, and the Big Show versus Seth and the AOP, and they include the promos. They include explaining how they got the Big Show being their third partner, and then of course they had to show parts of the match from last week. And I understand that all of this was to plug, that the fist fight match is taking place and it's going to be the main event, so we know it is going to end Raw tonight, and they have to talk about how the ref is going to declare that all three men can't continue in order for there to be a winner. But by doing that, after coming out of 5 or 6 minutes of commercials, it's almost like another 2 to 3 minutes of basically commercials, because it's what happened last week. And, with this being episodic TV, it's supposed to, feed off of what happened last week. But I don't know that coming back from that long of a commercial, I would put, a replay segment in right there. And then they flash to Seth talking to AOP, about the fist fight. And you see the glove on Seth's hand. I know he's been cleared, but they're obviously still selling the whole thumb injury that he has had. And I like how he talks about how it's the destiny. It's his destiny to be on Monday Night Raw, and how he's going to control the destiny of Raw, and how he's willing to make a sacrifice for it all, and how basically the locker room needs to accept his will as the Monday Night Messiah. And so I'm actually kind of enjoying this whole Monday Night Messiah running program. As I've said the last couple weeks, I'm enjoying Seth Rollins in this role. It is definitely made for him. So then they show Ricochet coming out. We haven't seen him in a while. I really, don't know where he's been, but they really reminded me with his opening and how he jumps into the ring and does this backflip and everything, that even before they announced his opponent, exactly how athletic he is and how much I have missed him. Of course, Mojo Rawlings comes out, and I think, this is going to be a quick match. This is a jobber match. I guess they're kind of wanting the rust off of Ricochet or something. But I was actually surprised that they choreographed this match to show Mojo's strength off, and how he was built, how he could throw Ricochet around, but that Ricochet was, a lot quicker than him, and he has so much more athleticism than what Mojo actually does. And he ends up in, I don't know, about 3 minutes hitting the 630 and pins him. So it was kind of a jobber match, but it kind of sold some of Mojo's strength. I understand that, some of the top mid-carders like Ricochet have to go up against some talent that, the fans kind of like Mojo. But if they're going to continue Mojo Rawlings' career in the WWE, they have to give him some wins somehow, some way. I'm not sure what that needs to be, but they have to build him up. You can't knock him down in jobber match after jobber match after jobber match. It's just worthless. I still do not understand the Street Profits. If anyone out there wants to explain that to me, please do. I am getting the feeling that no one really understands them. They at least wrestled last week, but this is just a promo backstage where they're wanting to call it Monday Night Smoke. It looks like they're wanting to sell some merch. One of them, I don't even know his name, but he's the one with the red Solo cup. He's rambling on about the fist fight. The other one's working on his Oscar ballad. And, they're just, I don't know. I just don't get into them. They're to me, they're basically wasting time that could be given to someone else. They're not really doing it for me. And they intro, Charlotte Flair. And I'm thinking, what was the point of that? But anyway, we get Charlotte to come out, and I loved the pyro that they, did for Charlotte. And of course, then they have to replay last week's non-match against Sarah Logan. And not expecting Sarah Logan to come out. She is Charlotte's opponent this week. And of course, they have to announce that she's from Louisville, Kentucky. Which I'm not sure helps when they're in Lexington, because most Lexington fans hate Louisville. So I'm not sure that that's going to win the crowd over at all. But they do announce that, Sarah Logan has entered the Rumble, and that, Charlotte is in the Rumble, so they may be running into each other again. Kind of turns into a brawl outside the ring, and you have kind of the suspense of the ref counting very, very slow. I mean, he sees that they're not getting in the ring anytime soon, so he takes his time with the count. Of course, they get back in at the 8 count and make it, because there for a second I thought, if you're really counting, this match would already be over, and it probably would be a good way to leading up to next week if you're wanting to do a short program leading into the Rumble, where maybe through some, I don't know, mismatch or shenanigans or something, where Logan, does hit Flair over the ropes in the Rumble or something like that. But no, they don't do that. They want to build up Charlotte, and that's pretty obvious. So they have her hit the figure 8, and Logan taps. So, I was waiting for him to, I don't know, kind of go to commercial. But when I see, Flair doing her thing, ordering the ref around to get her robe and, help her put on her robe and all that, I realize we're not done here. So I'm not sure whether, Logan's going to get up and actually maybe kick Flair as she's going through the ring ropes and put her down, outside of the ring or something like that. Something exciting. But no. Charlotte puts on her ring robe, and she has to pick Logan up and, throw her over the top rope to remind us that the Rumble is coming up and that everyone has to go over the top rope. And of course, Lawler is selling that one like hotcakes. Really, really just didn't need that. Felt that was, a little much. And so, I don't know. I thought we had a great first match. We see a real quick Ricochet Mojo match. We see, the Street Profits blabbering on, and then we see a underwhelming Charlotte Logan match. So I'm thinking, Raw's maybe not going to bring it this week. Maybe 2 weeks in a row is all they can do. So we come back from commercial, and KO is basically wanting to talk about the rules of the fist fight match. And Samoa Joe is kind of saying, hey, you need to quit worrying about the rules. And in my head, I'm having a conversation with myself thinking, I thought there were no rules in the fist fight match. I thought it was until three men can't get back up and then the referee declares the other team the winner. So I'm not really understanding this whole segment until Big Show shows up. And basically, this segment is just to get Big Show over. So that he can show his size 7, which I don't know what that means, his size 7 fist, and he shows, Kevin his huge, humongous fist for the fist fight match. And I'm thinking, again, we're wasting time with these promos. We've got to get better at these promos. I just really feel like they're scripting it too much. You could tell the Street Profits promo was scripted, and this one seemed like it's scripted. Usually Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens, I thought, were let off the leash and could kind of go on their own. If they were, it was awful. I thought Big Show being experienced, he also would be let off the leash and wouldn't have a scripted promo. But again, if it wasn't scripted, Big Show needs to do a lot better. So then, the music hits and we see the Beast. Of course, Brock Lesnar comes out with Paul Heyman, and behind him, seems like they got new graphics for him, on the signage. His name's in fire, and it's kind of scrolling. It reminds me of Seth Rollins' Burn It Down fire, and I guess I'm wondering, can the graphics department in WWE not come up with different graphics for each wrestler? Especially since, Brock is supposedly the Beast. He's going to take you to Suplex City. I'm not real sure what that has to do with fire. Seth's still coming out to the Burn It Down, and so really not understanding why your two major stars on this particular brand are using fire. I don't know. It was really confusing. Again, it's almost my frustration with WWE not willing, with all the people that they have, supposedly they have 30 writers, plus agents, plus producers. God knows how many they've got in the graphics department. Can we not change some stuff around and not repeat stuff? It's almost like, they don't want to work or something like that. It's killing me. So Heyman shocks us all, immediately gets on the mic and does kind of a Southern style impression for the Kentuckians. And then he obviously goes into My Name Is, Paul Heyman shtick that he does, every week. And then he has to make fun of Kentucky. And of course, the crowd basically goes right along with it and starts chanting, "You suck." And Brock looks at Heyman, and I don't know if it was planned or not. I know Heyman is running Raw now, so maybe he had put this idea out there before. But Brock and Heyman act like they're going to leave. They get about halfway up the ramp, and, they're booed, and they come back. Basically, so Brock can hold up the belt. And of course, the crowd boos even more, which I'm sure Heyman loves. He's getting the heat he wants. He's getting the crowd reaction and the pops and everything. So with the crowd booing, of course, Brock pretends that he's so upset. And basically, Heyman goes into the whole, him calling spoilers and his record and all that. It was a good promo, but it was really, really long. And I know that Heyman loves to talk, and I usually enjoy his promos tremendously. But I think after that first match with the triple threat, I was really wanting to see some action. And even Brock acted like he was getting bored. He started his bouncing around, which I think is a signal to Heyman, hey, wrap it up. I'm pretty much done. You guys are not paying me a whole lot to sit out here and hear you yak. So R-Truth's music hits. And, of course, I think everybody in the crowd was shocked. Of course, Heyman acts shocked. I was a little bit more shocked with R-Truth coming out in his fur-lined coat around the collar and his blonde ends on his dreads, and him saying that Cena taught him never to give up. And he declares for the Rumble. And Brock looks really confused. Like, why are you out here? I don't understand why you just didn't do this a little later. But R-Truth says, Paul Heyman's going to go over the top rope. Now, of course, Heyman and Brock start laughing at this. I am not laughing at this. I did not think that was funny. I'm sitting there thinking, I know that a lot of times they like R-Truth to play the clown, but for once, I wish he would act semi-smart. I was trying to figure out what he meant. Heyman says, I'm not in the Rumble match, and R-Truth gets the confused look that he normally gets, and he basically undeclares himself for the Rumble and says that, Heyman was back there, he was rambling on and talking a lot and was giving away spoilers and how much R-Truth doesn't like spoilers, so he really wasn't listening to him because he was falling asleep. So Heyman says no one likes R-Truth, which gets the crowd kind of fired up. And so R-Truth feels like he needs to kind of show off. He starts singing his What's Up song and doing his split and his dance. And he says to Brock, what's up? And so Brock picks him up and F5s him and says, that's what's up, and then he leaves. And I look at the timer and I'm thinking, yeah, that wasn't worth 15 minutes of my life. That could have been with R-Truth and Heyman. Why couldn't they come up with something better? Why did Heyman's promo need to be that long? Why didn't they bring R-Truth out? Why didn't they have him, I don't know, get some kind of offense going against Heyman maybe and have Brock step in or something? I mean, I'm not a writer, but surely if I had a week to come up with something for the next Raw, then hopefully I would come up with something better than that instead of wasting people's 15 minutes. So we come back from commercial and R-Truth's basically still out of it from getting F5'd, and Mojo Rawley runs down and wins the championship, the 24/7 championship. And I'm thinking, this is really getting ridiculous. we're, basically, into the first hour, and other than the first match, it has been a waste of my time. And I'm really kind of getting frustrated. So they flashed to Charlie. She did an interview earlier, I guess, when Lashley and Lana were coming in. They say it's taped. She wants to talk to him about the wedding, and of course, evil Lana, crazy Lana, has to take over and talk about how everything was ruined by everyone. And as she goes through her scripted promo, they have the flashbacks to go right along with her promo. As she's saying, she got interrupted with this or that or whatever, they're showing that. And then she goes into her Russian accent and says they're going to crush Rusev. And that was a little interesting. But, right after that taped promo, they send Bobby and Lana out. Their music hits, and they're in their ring attire, and I'm thinking, man, they're not waiting till the 10 o'clock hour. They're wanting to kind of grab viewers early, and I'm thinking, man, Heyman read that one right. Heyman went back there after that flop of a segment, and he said, "Hey, we've got to move Rusev and Lana and Lashley up because we're losing everybody." And they were right. I was ready to fast forward. I was ready to turn it. I was ready to do something. So, of course, after, another long commercial, Rusev comes out. You can see that he is going back to the old Rusev. And even, the King makes a comment about it. You can see that he's got his old determination back. He's all serious. And I don't know. I was, I guess, a little disappointed. I had enjoyed the fun Rusev. We saw him on Total Divas, pulling stunts, pulling pranks, having fun. And over the last couple weeks, after Lana left, I thought we were going to get the fun Rusev, the devastating Rusev, but the fun Rusev, the crazy Rusev. So I'm not excited to have, the old Rusev back. I don't want the Bulgarian Brute. I didn't enjoy that part of him. So he does look leaner and he looks quicker. The announcers, this is the first time that I've really, really, really paid attention to them in the last couple weeks. But during this match, they totally become annoying. And I'm wishing for Michael Cole and Corey Graves. I really, really am. Because they are starting to talk about the wedding. They're talking about the marriage of Lana and Rusev in their early years. They are not discussing this match whatsoever. They're not really calling it. They're not talking about the movesets. They're not talking about, what's going on. They are just not an A-team announcer group to me. They are nothing like Graves and Cole. They can tell the story of the match while they're selling the storyline. I think it's from Michael Cole's experience that they can weave that in there while they're selling, the match set and the moves and what is going on in the ring with the storyline. And they have a commercial, and then they continue the match, and Lashley's kind of I don't know, taken over in the commercial, and then Rusev starts his comeback, and he hits his big kick. And of course, Lana has to jump up on the ring apron and interfere so that when Rusev is, looking at her, Lashley can pop him in the leg. So they both clothesline each other, which I think is the stupidest moveset you can do in wrestling. And they're both laying on their backs in the middle of the ring, so something else is about to happen. And of course, out comes Liv Morgan. She wants to confront Lana. She wants to yell at her and scream at her. And Lana grabs a cup from a fan and throws what kind of appears to be Coke in her face, and then throws Liv into the barricade. So while Rusev is thinking about checking on, Liv, he again is, distracted so that Lashley can spear him and win. And I am just like, that was awful. Between the announcers not really getting into the match, not really, the King is trying to sell the stupidity of this whole wedding thing. The Morgan confrontation with Lana was really underplayed and awful. And the finish just wasn't that big of a deal. So again, we're continuing to kind of, go downhill. So we have, again, a bunch of long commercials, and then Charlie's telling us this breaking news, and she gets interrupted by Lana basically dragging Lashley over to interrupt Charlie, and she goes on to call Liv a stalker, and that she's a huge problem in her and Lashley's relationship. So she wants to issue a challenge to Rusev and Liv to take them on in a mixed tag team match. Well, Bobby gets upset. Lashley shows his temper and says, look, I just beat him. Why do I have to beat him again next week and see and make sure that you're okay and take care of you? And they, kind of storm off. At least that was somewhat interesting. I understand that they're setting that up for next week, and hopefully it'll, be a better match or a bigger deal, or there'll be something exciting that'll happen with them next week, because if not, they need to go ahead and end this. They don't need to wait till Royal Rumble. They just need to go ahead and end it and call it good and send them on their merry ways. Of course, then the Viking Raiders come out and they want to issue an open challenge. And man, oh man, I see the reason why they don't talk much, why they don't let them have the mic. It was just awful and bad promo. They don't need to be talking on the mic. I fully expect the B team to run out there. Are they even still around? I mean, that was my first thought. They're going to issue an open challenge, and here comes the B team. But we haven't seen them in a long time, so I don't even know if they're still around. But we get the next best thing. We get the Singh brothers, dancing and I don't know. It's a jobber match for the Viking Raiders. How many of these in a row are we going to get? They finish them off in 2 minutes, and the very first thing the announcer says is, they continue to mow down all challengers. Really? I have yet to see them get a challenge. Who has been challenging them? They had a jobber match last week. They've got a jobber match this week. What is going on here? they flash to Rusev and Liv, and basically that is just about them. Oh, we accept the challenge. Well, great. The announcers could have told me that. They didn't need to show y'all. They didn't need to waste my time. Have, the king say, I heard news that they accept, and be done with it and go on. But we've wasted enough time. We've gotten to the magical 10 o'clock hour. And so we know some shenanigans are coming, because that is how Vince McMahon has been pulling in viewers to kind of stick around. Viewers are still leaving during the 10 o'clock hour. Don't get me wrong. They're still leaving. But some have been sticking around. They have not been dropping as many viewers. So I'm kind of waiting, hey, what are they going to put in this place? Because they've already used Lana. So something's got to go down, just as crazy. So as soon as we come back from commercials, the king is in the ring. And he's got a table. So we know there's a contract signing. So automatically we know there's going to be something, going on. So he intros Becky Lynch. I'm still excited. She's got her steam. But, she does her normal walk to the ring. She puts the belt down very carefully, which didn't really understand that part. Goes to pick up the mic and then just kind of sits down. And I'm thinking, wow, we're not going to get a Becky Lynch promo? What's that about? So the king intros Asuka, who comes out in this awesome mask. It's got fringe like beads hanging down from the eyes, where if she wasn't wearing a mask, her green makeup is, and she's dancing around in her mask being all confident. And then I immediately get angry, because here comes Kairi Sane following behind her like her little lapdog with her spinning umbrella, and she's got that daggone title belt around her neck. And I absolutely hate that. So I know no one from WWE is listening to me, because I just griped about Bayley wearing hers around her neck. Do they not make the belts big enough for them to get them around their waist anymore? Or what is up with that? Asuka's wearing her belt. Why can Kairi Sane not carry it like a normal person, or put it around her waist? Why does she have to put it around her neck? Is that her dog collar? Because she does look like a little lapdog compared to Asuka, being all confident and dancing around. So we have Asuka shouting in Japanese. I wish they would get a translator. Can Kairi Sane speak Japanese? Can she translate for us? Does she speak English? WWE, do you not have anyone that speaks English? Can we get someone? Can we get a translator and pay them $50 an hour and get them to translate or something? So Kairi Sane, of course, has to come over on Becky's side, and Becky immediately stands up and she pokes Becky with her umbrella. So I'm not sure what they expected Becky to do, but I liked that Becky just automatically took that umbrella away from her and just gave it a toss right on out of the ring, and kind of gets up in Sane's face, and Sane, being the little lapdog that she is, just kind of goes through the ring ropes and goes to retrieve her little umbrella. And I'm thinking, Asuka's gonna strike. She's gonna go over top the king, and she's gonna nail Becky with this distraction. But no. Asuka is basically ready to sign the contract, ready to slip the green Tide Pod in her mouth and bust it so that she can get ready to spit some green mist everywhere. And she puts her feet up on the desk, and you see Becky kind of look at her like she's annoyed, and she signs. And so Asuka stands up like she's gonna leave and spits green mist, all in Becky's face. And after it's out of her mouth, of course, Asuka has to scream and yell and throw fits in Japanese. And again, I want to know what she's saying. Is she saying something stupid like I hate the WWE, or is she saying something important like I will see you at the Rumble and I'm going to take your belt? What is Asuka saying? That's really what I want to know. Becky sells this green mist pretty well. They slow-mo it and show it, and you can see it is hitting her square in the face. So Becky, is selling it well. The medics immediately arrive. I'm impressed. They've got gloves on dealing with this green mist that, I guess could blind you or kill you or give you the flu or whatever it's supposed to do. But they obviously want to flush it, and all Becky is hollering is, I want a mic. And I'm thinking, Becky, let them pour some water on you so this looks good. But Becky is wanting out there, obviously. So she's sitting in the floor. She cuts her promo in the floor and basically tells Asuka, if you put your hands on me, I'm going to come out swinging and I'm going to take you down. And she gives the camera a good shove. And I enjoyed that part. I liked that as she was leaving, she staggers and shoves that camera, and then, she's staggering around up the ramp. Now, my first thought is, where's Seth? Where is her fiance? Earlier, or I should say late in 2019, all in SummerSlam and everything, they wanted us to buy Becky and Seth being a couple. They, put the Instagram pictures up of them getting engaged. Where's Seth in this? He is the Monday Night Messiah. He's running the show now. Everyone in the locker room is supposed to be bowing down to his will because he is sacrificing everything for Raw. So, shouldn't the Monday Night Messiah be taking care of his girlfriend? Should he not be showing some favoritism? Should Asuka not be getting punished? I was kind of hoping AOP we would show them in the back and they're just beating down Asuka and Kairi Sane and taking her belt from around her neck and beating her with it to get back at her for doing this, to Seth's girlfriend. But, of course, we can't have that. Seth is only making Raw great again, I guess, on the men's side, and he's going to leave everything else up to Becky. But at least I've called it. They started the 10 o'clock hour out with basically shenanigans. The Mist, bringing us back to the 80s. I'm enjoying the Mist. I really like that. I like that they brought back bad Asuka, confident Asuka. I love her yelling in Japanese, although I do want to know what she's saying. Then they come back to Rey Mysterio and Andrade. And they have to show us what happened last week with Andrade taking his mask and how, Mysterio had to jump him and attack him and take his mask back, and then he took the title with him. And basically they tell us, hey, we're going to sell this ladder match to you guys next week for the U.S. title. So they have an interview with Vega and Andrade. And I am so glad that Selena Vega is talking. And she is talking Andrade up. I did not want to hear him speak Spanish, and that's what he did last week. And so Vega is, going on and on about how Mysterio is not man enough to defeat Andrade, and Andrade is more than enough man to take his mask to make him look stupid. She starts talking about filing a criminal report with the police in order to get the belt back because Mysterio is nothing but a criminal, and starts talking about how he's letting down his kids and how he's not a good role model for them. He's a criminal. And the only thing that I'm noticing is Andrade's lucha mask on his necklace. It was such a cool charm to be on his necklace. That actual luchador mask that is, Mexican tradition. I was impressed with that. I was like, oh, that is so cool. And then, of course, I come back to reality when Andrade starts speaking Spanish into the microphone. And again, we get no translation. And, I thought that's what Vega was there for, was to kind of, I don't know, translate for him, to speak for him. I know that Vince wants to make him a big star in the company with him dating and being engaged to Charlotte Flair, and they have stuck him in English classes. But I like Vega with him, so just use her and let him be silent. So they immediately got to go to Rey Mysterio, who still looks like a homeless person with his scraggly little beard under his mask, and he talks about how he's not a criminal and how he is Latino, and he can't believe they are insulting him like that. And then, Ray starts speaking in Spanish, and then he responds about how serious he takes being an example to his children, and how he accepts the ladder match, and he will be there next week. And then he starts speaking Spanish again. And I'm just like, oh, we are back to going downhill. I don't know if we can save this. We're in the 10 o'clock hour. I can feel people just shutting off their TVs, fast forwarding their DVRs, or just deleting the DVR altogether. It's just craziness. Then they have to show us who all has entered themselves into the Rumble. Well, I really wish they wouldn't have done that. They actually point out that Rey Mysterio is in the Rumble. And when they show the picture, it is obvious that Andrade has not announced yet. He is not pictured in this picture. So guess what? Rey is not winning the title next week. That is WWE just telegraphing things. And that is stupid. I don't even want to watch the match next week. I know it's a ladder match. I know they're hanging the belt above the ring. I know they're going to try to beat each other with ladders. They're going to jump off of them and do crazy stunt moves. Maybe Rey will even do a 619 off the ladder or something like that. Swinging around the ladder or something. But I don't even want to watch it, because I know Mysterio is going to lose. There is not going to be any swerve. He's in the Rumble. Andrade's not, which means he's going to be defending his U.S. title. So why are we having this match? This is ridiculous. So then we get a replay of Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy. And it's almost like they're introducing themselves to us. I mean, come on, guys. You guys have already had 2 matches, and while they have been great matches, I still really don't understand Buddy Murphy. I don't really get his character. I at least know who Black is, and I get who he's supposed to be. He's sticking straight with his gimmick, but who is Murphy? What is his character? What is going on? And then they show, the endings of the 2 previous matches that they've had, and Black wins both of them. And then, of course, they've got to show Murphy attacking Black from last week. And they say, hey, we're going to have a 3rd match. And I'm really thinking, why? You haven't really gave me a reason to believe that Murphy can beat him. Black has defeated him handily, basically twice. He attacked him from nowhere last week and got the better of Murphy. Got the better of Black. Murphy attacked Black and got the better of Black. But I don't know that that's a cause for a 3rd match. And I'm thinking, I'm getting frustrated. Well, I'm glad I stayed with it. I don't know how many people that did. If you didn't, I'm not going to talk a whole lot about that match other than to say I wish WWE would put on more matches like this. I wish all their matches were like this. This was a great match. You guys need to go YouTube this. There were a lot of close finishes. There were tights being pulled. The referee caught them and said, I'm not counting that. There were feet on the ropes. And the referee said, hey, I can't continue counting. Aleister Black finally hits Black Mass, and Buddy Murphy barely gets his shoulder up by like a paper-thin margin, and then gets up, and Black just hits another Black Mass. And now Black has won 3 times in a row. They get a standing ovation from the crowd. That's how good this match was. So you need to go YouTube it. Murphy plays up his frustrations, and he sits down, staggering, and then sits down up against the barricade. And he has this look on his face like, I really don't know what to do. I'm frustrated. I can't beat Black. I think I'm better than him. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I am extremely frustrated. And that's the first time that I really, after a match, got kind of a little interested in Murphy. I was like, not only can he put on a great match, in the ring, he's got some acting chops, and I am at least interested in him. So then they've got a promo, next week. They've got to say, Brock's coming back. Well, great. Paul Heyman, that means he's talking again next week for 20 minutes, and it's a waste of my time. I don't even know why we're bothering bringing Brock back. He's not doing anything. He's not defending anything. Him beating up R-Truth. Well, he didn't even beat up R-Truth. He F5'd him and walked away. Why are we paying him for this? This is getting ridiculous. Then they have to sell, Rey Mysterio versus Andrade in the ladder match, and then they want to tide us over with Rusev, Lana, Liv, Lashley, mixed tag team match. I don't even want to see that. It is going to be the boys basically knocking each other around, and the girls are going to get in there and fight for 2 seconds and then tumble out of bounds or out of the ring doing a hair pulling session, and we're not going to see Liv Morgan be back full force doing wrestling moves. I want to see her doing some moves. I want her back wrestling. And we all know Lana can't do it. So this is just a joke of a match. And so I look, and we've got 15 minutes left. They're giving 15 minutes to the main event. They've been selling this fist fight match on every social media platform. They have been selling it on Twitter. They have been, making posts on Facebook, on Instagram. And really, you're giving 15 minutes to this match? Now, granted, the Murphy and Black match may have ran over. It was a great match. But why couldn't we have cut out some of that other stuff and gave them a little bit more time for, this 6-man fist fight match? So they come back from commercial, and what do we get? Oh, we don't get the main event. We get Eric Rowan carrying his little cage, going up against another jobber. What is the point in this? This is not making him cool. I have said this now. This is the 3rd or 4th week I have said this. This is Jake the Snake's gimmick. This is not cool. This is stupid. He is not a monster. I don't care about him. Get him off my screen. I don't care what's in the cage. I don't care about Rowan. Put him back with Daniel Bryan if you have to. I don't care. Release him. Let him go play with Harper. I don't care about him. So he opens the cage door, sticks his hand in there, grabs a red packet of Asuka's red mist, and basically breaks it in his hand, pretending that whatever's in this cage has bit him. And so that makes him mad. Well, you know what? Don't stick your hand in there. If you don't want it to bite you, and you don't want it to bleed, and you don't want to get mad, then guess what? Don't stick your hand in there. This is stupid. So he finishes this jobber in like 45 seconds. I don't care. Get him off my screen. So the countdown, when they come back, is 9 minutes. We've got 9 minutes unless they've got permission from the USA Network to go over. We've got 9 minutes for this big fist fight match that they have been promoting that I absolutely think is stupid. So, we see the intros, we see Seth with AOP, and of course we gotta see Big Show and Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe come out. And the first thing that I'm thinking is, what are you doing? I don't even know what they're doing. Like I said, they have been plugging this match for 7 days now about it being fist fight, fist fight, fist fight. The graphics all say fist fight. Well, what do the first thing they do? They grab kendo sticks and tables. So, is this a no-holds-bar match? Is this a weapons match? Is this a fist fight? What exactly is this? This is chaos. This is stupidity. This is WWE not knowing what is going on. There is some nice action. They've got action all over the place. They've got Samoa Joe on the floor beating up one of AOP. They got, Kevin Owens on the ramp beating the other AOP. They've got Big Show and Seth Rollins outside the ring. They have it even set up that Kevin Owens runs up the screen ramp on the set of Raw and, does a kind of cannonball move, and then Joe sets up a blind table slam that they actually explain on Backstage Tuesday night how dangerous this move is, because he's going in it. If he doesn't judge that move exactly right, he can hit his head for real on the concrete. Luckily he doesn't, but they're doing some awesome moves. And I'm thinking, did they only leave 9 minutes because Big Show can't go that long? Or couldn't come up with enough spots? Or, why is this match so short? And then they flash to Buddy Murphy. He's still sitting at the barricade with his head in his hands, looking all frustrated, looking confused, and basically Big Show throws Seth out there to Buddy Murphy. And Seth looks at Buddy Murphy basically like he is the Monday Night Messiah and asks Buddy Murphy, please, please, please help us. You've got to help us. So Seth gets back in the ring like an idiot without getting an answer from Murphy. And of course, Big Show just immediately gets him in chokeslam position and slams Seth. And Buddy Murphy jumps in the ring and low-blows Big Show, and then puts Big Show with the help of Seth through the table. In the meantime, while all this was going on, somehow AOP recovered. But Kevin Owens, who did the offensive move, did not. Samoa Joe, who put one of AOP through a table, AOP recovered, but Samoa Joe did not. So AOP is beating the crap out of Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe. They lay Kevin Owens on the announcer table, and then they basically put Samoa Joe through Kevin Owens through the table. They basically just take him and power slam him on top of Kevin Owens and break the table. So then we go flashing back to the ring, and we see Seth try to curb stomp Big Show and end this, but Big Show didn't fall for that, and we see AOP climb into the ring and they firebomb Big Show, and then Buddy Murphy looks like he's supposed to be doing a move, but they're running out of time, so it's almost like he puts Big Show in position for Seth to do the curb stomp. And so when Seth does the curb stomp, then the official looks around, and Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens haven't gotten up. Big Show's not getting up from the obvious curb stomp that little Seth Rollins has laid on him. And Seth hugs AOP after they're declared the winners, and is thanking them and patting them on the head and everything, while Murphy again looks frustrated and confused, like he doesn't know if he's supposed to be there or not. So of course Seth turns around to look at him, and we're not sure what's going to happen. Oh, yeah, right. Seth, of course, opens his arms so that Murphy can basically run into them, and he joins them and embraces the Vision as King tries to sell this storyline. They finish this up with 2 minutes left, and so because they've got 2 minutes left, we basically just see them over and over raising their hands. Seth hugging them, Seth patting them, Seth hugging Murphy, Seth patting Murphy, them raising their hands. And basically, I guess the camera person is telling them stretch it more, because we see them, celebrating again by raising their hands. And finally we're off the air, and I'm thinking, wow. I'm just not sure. WWE can't pull this off for more than 2 weeks in a row. This is the third week they couldn't do it. You had Orton, AJ, and Drew McIntyre put on a heck of a match. You had Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy putting on a great match and just selling it to death. You have a great acting job by Buddy Murphy, and you have it set up for him to join the AOP and Seth Rollins in their group. Great. What else did you really have? Am I missing something? Please write in and tell me if I am missing something. Hit me up at wrestlingovertime@gmail.com, or, Facebook me or Twitter me at wrestlingovertime. Tell me what I am missing. I dare you to tell me what I'm missing. We had 2 good matches in a 3-hour show. I didn't even get a good Paul Heyman promo. I can't even think of a good promo that we had. Yes, the Asuka thing was cool. It was 5 minutes long. You had enough to fill up an hour. What does the WWE do? What do their writers do? What do all of those agents and producers and all the people helping these WWE superstars, what do they do for 6 days a week? That they cannot put together 3 hours of good TV. I don't understand. I'm being serious. Really, if you would condense that down, it's about an hour-long show. And sitting there rethinking it while I'm, writing up, getting ready to record this, I'm thinking, if you cut all of the 5 to 6 minute long commercial breaks that the USA Network is throwing in there, we really probably only get 2 hours of Raw. And you could probably get it down to about an hour and 45 minutes, an hour and a half, if you would cut out all the stupid promos. It's a 3-hour long show. Give us some content. Give us some storylines that make sense. NXT is better than this. AEW is better than this. Heck, the Sami Callihan, Tessa Blanchard storyline is better than this. Marty Scurll sticking with Ring of Honor and being a booker, I'm sure that he is going to come up with better stuff than this. Paul Heyman, if you're hearing this, dude, you've got to give us a better show than this. You really, really, really do. Guys, tell me where I'm wrong. Or if you agree with me, please write the WWE and tell them they've got to get better. I'm watching this show for you. If you don't want to watch it, I'll recap it for you every week, and just turn it off. They'll lose a viewer. If we can get enough people to turn off their TVs, maybe they'll make a change. I don't know. Something's got to change. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. We're at an hour and 15 minutes, and hopefully I've gave you better content than WWE has. I look forward to seeing you guys next time, and remember, Wrestling Overtime, Facebook, Twitter, and you can email us at gmail.com, and we will be giving you all the latest updates that we can, and I will see you real soon. Talk to you.